Hi, I'm Mark Beck.
And I'm Stephanie Thompson.
And I'm Meghan Salois. We're with Remax Glacier Country, coming to you from Sunset Plaza in Kalispell, Montana.
And this is Selling Montana, a podcast about business, real estate, and entrepreneurship. And today we have a wonderful guest, Mr. Robin Patrick from 406 Home Inspections. Robin, take it away.
Well, 406 Home Inspections, we are a local home inspector here in the Kalispell area. We service the entire northwest area of Montana. And I'm here just to introduce the business and answer questions.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Of course.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on and giving us a little bit of content and opportunity to talk about one of the premier home inspection companies in the Valley, right? Last year's Best of Flathead, am I correct?
Yes, absolutely. 2021
nice.
Best of Flathead, and we're looking to do that again.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Way to go.
And you're pretty new to the Valley. I mean, I would say business-wise, right?
Yeah, we started in late 2019.
Okay.
I had a business down in the Salt Lake Valley where I came from, and since 2019, I have to say the Flathead Valley has been very, very good to us, very responsive, and it's a good business environment to start a business if you're willing to work hard and be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd say you've had a fast start. So, I mean, obviously you've taken care of your customers. I mean, you've done what it's required to do in a small town to get a good start and go quick.
Yeah, the small town environment is very, very different than being in a big city. It is not advertising dollars that does it. It's shaking hands, meeting people, keeping your word, doing a good job, and charging a fair price. We did just under 450 inspections our first year.
That's incredible.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I think 20 of them were mine. So, no, I'm just
Oh
kidding.
my God.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Okay,
At least.
Mr.
At
Rocky.
least.
Mark the shark. Here we are.
I think I ran the numbers on it. You were like half.
Yeah, I was like 200. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Hey, I would love to get there, though.
That'd be
That would
awesome.
be all.
200
love
buys
to.
a year.
Sure.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so tell us just a little bit more. So it's a family-owned business. You and your wife run the company, right?
Pretty much. And we have another inspector that handles the Kalispell area. We also are down in Polson because I just purchased a house down there with the help of this brokerage and Stephanie Thompson here. So
Thank you, sir.
of course, I appreciate your help. It was magic. You worked magic for us. So yeah,
Happy to.
it's company owned. We're going to stay pretty small. We're not looking to have all kinds of people all over the place. It's more about quality than it is quantity, and I think that's what people are looking for. It's a big deal what we do for people.
Yeah. It's one of the most important steps to the purchase process is the home inspection. It's normally that is the make it break it point. You know whether the
Right.
deal is going to come together or not once the home inspection is through and negotiations are done with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, more than that, it's a big deal because it matters what you're getting yourself into. You don't want to skip a home inspection because you don't know what you're getting yourself into.
Mm-hmm.
And the inspection is important, but also the presentation of the information. Inspectors have to be very careful not to build themselves into the answers that they're receiving. It should be factual. A home inspection is about what, not when, where, or why. And you need to stick to that so that everybody can make their own decisions without you influencing the information.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Yeah. It's kind of one of the worst things is when you've got a great home, a small issue, and then you've got a home inspector that's kind of blowing it out of proportion, or he's doing more than what he should be doing, right? Like
Yeah.
he's proposing fixes or whatever. And it's like, why don't we have the sellers may want to get their own contractor in and get their own bids and their own fixes, right? So, no, I totally follow what you're saying there. And I'll say your report system, just from the brokerage side, very easy to use. I get the report. It's easy for me to go through it with my clients and help them, come to an understanding of it when I'm on the buyer side.
Yeah, a report that is easy to use and for the buyer to understand is super important because we have to remember that we do this all day, every day. They see it, once, twice, 3 times in a lifetime.
That's very true.
And that's part of the reason that you don't add a lot of additional information in there that really isn't part of the what factor because it's going to be confusing anyway. And that's why real estate agents need to have a home inspection company that they understand. They're familiar with the reports because ultimately it falls on you guys to explain it unless you call us and ask questions. So it has to be that way.
So prior to being in the inspection business, what was your career before that again?
Oh, wow. Which iteration of myself are you asking about?
Well, I think you were in electrical, right?
Well,
No
I was an
construction.
electronics technician in the
Okay.
Navy, but I was
wow.
30 years in construction. I owned a contractor school for a while. Utah used to have a 20-hour prerequisite course that was required to even apply for a contractor's license. I authored that for the Association of General Contractors in Northern Utah and taught 6 hours of that course myself. So construction's been pretty much my life. When construction crashes, I'm generally a salesman of some sort or another for a couple of years until construction comes back. That's how you survive, right?
So they say those who can't do teach, but you've done it, you've taught it, and you've checked it out and made sure someone else did it right.
Well, yeah. So now the objective is to put together a team that is sharp enough that it doesn't require me to hover over them. And the reason that that's important is because that business model means that I've got a quality individual, and I'm talking about my inspector that does most of them, Aaron Fetveit, great guy. You never know if you hire a guy if it's a grand slam or not. Aaron is absolute grand slam. So giving him some autonomy, giving him some pride in his product and stuff like that allows me to focus on making sure that our processes are in place, because one of our big goals is to be easy to work with. And that requires that we take the information that the agents throw at us because they're super busy, and we build and do and get it done from that point.
So what are some of the major, the most frequent pitfalls that you see or issues with Montana homes?
Oh, water, hands down.
Water.
Absolutely. With a few exceptions, everything starts with water. Mold starts with water.
Right.
Rot starts with water. Foundation cracks start with water. Roof problems even start with water.
And there's moisture in the air in Montana, so
Sure.
mold in the air.
Yep. And mold is a big issue that comes from that. It's not as common as people think to the point where it's a problem. But if you asked us to go into any home here in Northwest Montana and find mold, we will.
You'll find
Yeah,
it.
there's gonna be.
Totally.
So the question now is it really a problem?
Yeah.
And that's where you have to understand what the objective is and what the question is, so you can answer that question without getting everybody up in arms.
Exactly.
The other thing that I like that 406 does is whenever there is a quote-unquote problem that's found in the inspection, you have a list of great contractors that we can contact.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ethics is a big deal in my profession, just like it is in real estate. And one of the things that we are not allowed to do, if we're following our ethics correctly, is first off, we don't work on anything that we've inspected in the last 12 months. You're not supposed to. And the other thing is we're not supposed to get kickbacks from anything. So that list that you're referring to that we send out to everybody, some of those guys don't even know they're on the list. And certainly it has nothing to do with whether or not we make extra money. It's simply a starting place for somebody to start at, or a lot of realtors have their own Rolodex already, but it helps the homeowner feel like they've got somewhere to start.
Totally.
Yeah, and you have to, when it comes to referrals, like you have to know people. That's part of the thing in the business. The clients are going to ask you when a problem comes up. They're going to ask you, who do you know an electrician? Do you know an excavator? Do you know a mold guy? So we have to be able to say, yeah, here are some people that we know. I can't, we're not getting paid from it. We're not getting kickbacks. These are some people that we've worked with in the past. We know they've done good work in the past. Hopefully they'll continue to do good work for you. I know things get busy and things, balls got dropped the last couple of years because it's been insane. But, things are kind of changing now. But, so, I mean, that's the ethical way to go about it, is just to give them the list of here's some contractors that we know have done good work.
Sure, absolutely. And the other thing, too, when people get a home inspection report, especially homeowners, and they have questions, call the inspector, because we will say a lot of things that you'll never see in a report. Because we have the leeway to say, hey, if you really want to understand this, here's how I would approach it. Not necessarily giving them a solution, but giving them a thought process that they can follow so they can come to their own solution without a lot of the chaff or a lot of the background noise that goes on in people's heads. Buying a house is a big deal. It's huge, and it's confusing. And when Stephanie was my agent, quite honestly, I felt like I was a little badger and I had a mama honey badger taking care of me. I'll tell you what. And I needed that because I didn't have time to deal with the issues.
I'm just thinking of the YouTube video about the honey badger.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's
Brawling with lions. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why all the thousands of real estate agents that I work with, that's why I chose Stephanie. That's why I chose this brokerage, because it matters to feel like somebody has your back.
Yeah,
That has to carry through to the home inspection as well. Somebody's got to have your back. These buyers, they've got to be taken care of.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, and we are, we're experiencing some change in the market.
A little bit.
Going through a transition a little bit. Inspections are going to come back. I mean, I don't think I've ever waived an inspection on a buy sell. I've done
I've had a lot of
information
clients push me to.
I've done information only. We're going to do an inspection, information only.
Yep.
We call those, we call those walk and talks.
Walk and talk. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. You know, but sometimes the client knows that they're not going to go into it negotiating anything at all.
Right.
They may want to terminate the contract over something that's totally egregious, but they're not going to negotiate. They're not trying to get $5-6 grand out of the seller.
Yep.
But I think negotiations are going to come back.
Yeah, it's going to change.
They will.
It's going to change.
You're going to get the laundry list again of here's 25 items for the seller to fix, and they're going to have to be like, okay, we'll do it.
Yeah. Or the seller's going to say, you know what, let's chop that down to 10, and I'm going to do 5 of them myself, and then we'll get someone from the list or whatever. And that's how you make it work. That's how you put deals together.
Yep, totally.
Yeah. So what is just a piece of advice when you've bought a home here in Montana, you've inspected a ton of homes in Montana, when someone's searching for a home and, they've contacted one of us 3 fine brokers,
absolutely,
agents and brokers, and they're looking, what's some advice that you could give them on what to look out for in a home here?
Well, there's not really a lot you can look out for. You have to rely on the professionals who you've hired that are taking care of you. And that is the biggest piece of advice. Get a good agent. I told you who I chose. I told you the brokerage I chose, and I told you why. Get a good home inspection. If you shop price on a home inspection, you're out of your mind. If you're thinking about skipping a home inspection, you're out of your mind. I'm not saying that because I'm an inspector. You're out of your mind, period.
Yeah.
This is a huge
We've even
purchase.
seen brand new houses that were just built a couple months ago with huge problems.
I'll tell you a secret about brand new houses. We find as many, if not more, problems with new houses.
So interesting.
The theory of letting a house breathe and all this other stuff is a thing of the past. New houses are more fragile than older houses because they're building them tighter, which means they don't have a chance to dry because water gets in them. And they're more susceptible to errors in construction will damage a new house faster than it will damage an old house. Because of the building practices.
Especially with how fast they're throwing them up right now.
Right. So instead of letting air flow through them, you have to control the air, and the air has to be controlled correctly. Otherwise, they don't dry out. And we talked about water. There's your water again.
Yeah. I built a couple houses in 2018, back when I could afford to build one,
when lumber was reasonable.
Yeah.
Good timing.
Yeah. And, you have such a limited time. I mean, you're looking at 12 to 14 months to build a house right now. Well, you're going to go through a lot of different weather in that time period.
You bet.
And depending on when you get dried in or not is a big deal. And I did not get dried in time. And I've got one of the houses has got some bow in the bathroom, and it broke. I mean, it broke tile at a year later down the road. It broke tile in the bathroom.
Sure.
It was
Wow.
a little bit of a mess to fix. So the whole drying thing, you go through, your OSB just gets saturated for a weekend while everyone's, away camping or whatever, and it rains out, on your job. And what are you going to do about it? You going to go tarp your roof? I mean, tough luck.
Yeah.
It's worth a few $100s to save you thousands later.
Yeah.
It is. And OSB is a good example because OSB is one of those new materials that has replaced plywood that's a lot more susceptible to moisture. It balloons, it becomes
Looks
soft.
like a sponge.
Exactly.
Yep.
And so OSB is a good example. If you don't let it dry out or your house is not breathing correctly in a controlled fashion, it becomes damaged much more quickly. And that's what I was saying. New homes are more susceptible to damage when they have problems.
I've seen people, I've never done this, all the homes that my parents built and homes that I built, the plywood was what we used to sheet the roof. But I've seen homes with OSB sheeted
OSB
roof.
is acceptable 100% on the roof. I don't know that I would use it.
I wouldn't.
But it's acceptable. It's normal.
It's cheap. I mean, it's a lot cheaper, but I wouldn't do it.
No.
Oh, it used to be. Yeah, I guess I don't know whether I haven't shopped the price.
Well, I bought a 2x4 the other day, and my wife asked me why I sold a spare car.
Seriously. I have a question for you.
Sure.
I get a lot of buyers that, I don't want to say this to be rude to you, but don't like home inspectors or
Sure.
they think, I guess the big thing is okay, if they have no experience building at all and they just went and took the inspector course, never built a home, never had any trade experience before.
Which is happening right now.
Yes. And just go take the course, and then all of a sudden, they, know everything about a house.
Sure.
I'm just curious what your thought is. Do you think it's important to have a prior, building experience or something, or is it, enough to just go take the course? I'm just curious because I actually
Yeah, I'll give you
get
some
a lot
contrast
of
on this because I can
feedback
answer this
on that.
question directly. To get an interview with me, you must have 20 years in construction to even interview for my company. And that's true of Aaron. He was 20 years an electrician. And I've got another guy that wants to start. He drove in from New Jersey, and I'm going to go meet with him today or tomorrow. So you have to have that. And after you get certified with me, the training begins. Because I'm a certified mentor. It takes 50, 60, 100 inspections before that person who already has 20 years experience, already got certified, understands the flow of an inspection. And the biggest thing about being an inspector is knowing when to shut up.
Yeah.
And I mean this as in you're on the job site, you found something that's wrong, and a new inspector is so excited that they found something wrong. They finally found something that they want to go tell everybody with this gleeful energy, and you can't do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So now the contrast is my wife is also a certified inspector, and she did 350 inspections with me and went through the InterNACHI and got certified, and she still cannot do an inspection on her own because she doesn't have the background in it. So yes, absolutely, you can go out and get certified. So that's when I say don't shop price. Guys that just get into the industry without this background and experience don't know their worth. They're going to be a lot less expensive than the experienced inspector. And as far as the money that people spend on an inspection, the home buyer's sincere hope should be that every penny they pay me is a waste of money because they want the house.
Right.
Right. But you're doing that with the anticipation of having a good inspection, the house being fine. But the reason you're doing it is because in case.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're going to spend the money, get somebody who can find the in case if it's there. So you're absolutely correct. You need to shop for an inspector.
If those newer people are missing things, or just, I can see why a buyer would be concerned if
Sure.
they have no prior experience.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. It's like buying car insurance. You resent the fee until you crash your car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you're glad you got it.
And you're
Very true.
same with getting a lower deductible. You're like, oh, was my deductible really that high? Like, I probably should have paid a little more a month for the lower deductible.
Exactly.
I thought it was 500. That's
Yeah. Oh, it's 1,000, 1,500. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so that's a really good question with new people getting into the industry.
Yeah.
And it
Just
does
seeing a lot of
matter.
it,
Experience
so.
matters. The difference between being a contractor and being a home inspector, the skill set is very much the same. It's how you look at the house. As a contractor, you look at it a certain way. As a home inspector, you'll see a home inspector staring at a wall. If he's staring at a wall, he's doing something. Because you scan a wall, and when your eyes stop, there's a reason that your eyes stopped. And it's paying attention to that as opposed to paying attention to the process of how to build a home. It's allowing your brain to see the deficiencies, and that's not a new skill set. It's just a different way of seeing things, and that takes experience.
Yeah. How long is the course that you have to take to get certified as a home inspector?
Oh, wow. I did it pretty quick because of my background. I would say that it took my wife 3 months, 4 months.
So if someone had no prior experience, just went and took that course, do you think that would be a wise choice?
No, and it's not really a course. So I'm certified through InterNACHI. There's a couple of others out there that are good, right? But I'm certified through InterNACHI. And the InterNACHI certification, the basic certification, is probably 15, 20 courses, and then with a big final exam. Each course has its own exam. And then beyond that, you can get advanced certifications. And I've got a slew of them. You can see them on my website. And so the basic certification is probably, I want to say maybe it's 20 courses in a final exam, and then a couple of essays and things like that. And then boom, you're a home inspector. Yeah. It's kind of like becoming a contractor here in the state of Montana. $70 in a piece of paper, now you can go build houses.
Yeah.
Which is a good reason to get a home inspection, by the way.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I guess that's the barrier for entry is like the state's like, well, they'll get it inspected before they buy it, right?
Depends on where it is. Depends on where it is.
I was just going to ask about how long has it been a requirement in the state that home inspectors have to be licensed?
So it's not really licensed, but yes, there was a change, and it was January 1st, 2020.
Okay.
And so the requirement now is the barrier for entry is extremely low, in my opinion, still. Mm-hmm. So the requirement now is you have to be certified through InterNACHI, and there's a couple of others that they accept now. You have to carry E&O insurance. You have to carry general liability insurance. If you have employees, you have to have workers' comp, or you have to waive it. And I'm not sure what my CE is. It's either 40 or 50 hours every 2 years. So the CE requirements are pretty high. The courses aren't that tough, but they're there. And in my opinion, the bar for entry needs to be a lot higher. It really does.
Yeah.
I agree. That's an issue with both of our, and Board of Realty Regulation is like raising the bar for entry, raising it. But, they've made new supervising broker forms where like I am required by law to be actively involved in a new agent's business. I think it's the first 2 years. Every transaction I have to be involved in,
Right.
which is good. But I think for a lot of business models, that's not happening or it's hurting them because they have 150, 200 agents.
Sure.
They're all new. They've never sold a house before. They probably don't even own real estate themselves.
Yeah.
So how could you possibly supervise 150 people and be in every single transaction?
Sure.
There's no way.
For the first
No
2
way.
years.
Sure.
The first 2 years. It's not getting done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they were talking about having a mentorship for home inspectors here, and one of the unique things about being a home inspector in this area, because I'm on a lot of national boards and a lot of national groups and stuff like that, and they're all friends and we all swap ideas. And home inspectors here are a little bit more like a silo. They're not. We don't talk to our competitors as much as I would expect to. So it's kind of a unique market in that. And one of the things they were talking about was making a requirement back in January 2020 when this started of having to have a mentorship for a certain period of time to be a home inspector. Now, here's the challenge, right? And I've mentored a few guys, but here's a challenge. You come into my market, you want me to mentor you to be my competitor.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was the pushback. And I understand that. The people that I've mentored are, I've got no problem mentoring a veteran because I'm a veteran. And I've helped a veteran in this area, Signature Inspections, great guy. Got him started, and then there's another one that was down in the Hamilton area. He has to be mentored, and he was a veteran, so I helped him. And the guy that's coming to town is a veteran as well that I'm going to be meeting with today or tomorrow. Yeah, but that's the challenge. They wanted a mentorship because they wanted them to at least go on some inspections, some real ones.
Right.
Because once you're certified and you pay the fee and you do anything with the state, you stick up a shingle and off you go.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, that's not good.
But there's that pushback of creating my own competition and making them as good as possible so they can beat me.
I know the appraisers have the same issue. It's the same kind of concept with them. They have to
Sure.
go through a mentorship thing, but then do I really want to mentor another competitor?
Yeah.
Which is why we have a small pool of appraisers.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Robin, I know we're getting close to our time here. We're going to wrap up, but is there anything at all that you would like to convey? What is one last tidbit of knowledge that you can give our viewers?
Well, if you find a good home inspection company, keep them around.
Yeah.
Use them. Vote for us for Best in Flathead 2022. That'll help because then we'll be around too.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
My
Thank you
pleasure.
very much.
Absolutely my pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity to come in here and talk
Yes, and we do enjoy doing business with you. We've had a good working relationship.
Thank you. Same.
We also have been nominated. We made it through the nominations as Best Brokerage. I do believe that is true. I think that we deserve your vote. We would love to earn it. Please look us up on Best of the Flathead, Remax Glacier Country, Best Real Estate Brokerage. And if you would subscribe and share this video, we would love to expand our viewership.